Can you imagine traveling alone by plane? I mean, not a private jet or something. Even though not with a private jet, you won't be having a chance to travel alone for sure. Most likely, you'll bring some friends with you. I would like to share with you a story of mine from March 2020, nearly 2 years ago, when I've traveled alone from Bucharest to Budapest with a Taron flight from Romania, of course. It was very interesting, and it's for sure once in a lifetime experience for many people. I cannot. I'm almost sure that not too many can say that they traveled alone in a plane. It was declared state of emergency in Romania because of COVID pandemic's beginning. So I've fled in the last moment to Hungary, back where I was working, but in the airport I had some issues. At the boarding gate, I was alone and I didn't understand why. The personnel told me that four persons bought tickets, but I was the only one who showed up. Okay, I said I need to take this plane, even though I won't be entering Hungary territory. So I did. But first, they didn't want to let me in because I didn't have Hungarian citizenship, of course. But I had all the documents, working permit, residence permit, uh, insurance card, everything. I had even the work contract there. It was quite heavily to be allowed, quite hard to be allowed to embark the plane, to board in the plane, but I did it, and so I did travel to Budapest, back where I was working for almost 5 months now. So in the airport, the problem was when they heard that I'm coming from Romania, they said, "No, you're not allowed if you don't have a citizenship." It's okay, but I don't have all the papers in order. No, you're not allowed to come here. What the fuck? Why? Well, in the end, a Romanian talking police officer came to me and we discussed, and she said, most likely you won't be entering. We will see your mm, documents, but most likely you'll be back. So I said, okay, but if I will go back, I would need to, you'll need to be quite rapid because in 1 hour and a half, the plane that brought me here is leaving back to Romania. And she said, no, I don't think it will. I think it will take longer. Okay, but we have a space for persons for transit zone, and you can stay here until the next flight. Okay, it was getting interesting. I know it was a day in which I would need to work because I wasn't off then, but regardless, I would have done everything to, maybe this was my last concern. But surprisingly, after 20 minutes with all my documents, they said, you are free to go. So I was free to go and exit the transit zone. I was almost done because I was fairly sure that I will go back to Romania on a flight. On a flight which wouldn't be empty because the crew told me that even though I wouldn't show up at the airport, me being the last person, they would have taken off anyway because they would need to return with Romania with passengers from Budapest to Bucharest in the same day. So basically, it was a one of a lifetime experience with traveling alone in a domestic flight, not domestic, sorry, because it wasn't in the same country, but in an international flight, in fact, and with a lot of um, things I needed to settle both in Romania and especially in Hungary borderline. But it all ended up good, and since March until I think July or June, I think for 3 months I didn't go to Romania. The thing is that in this period I wanted to avoid uh, isolation or quarantine, so I did it. But traveling around by plane was one of the best memories I have in my entire life. Can you relate to this in maybe another story of yours? A story with a different topic, but as memorable as this?